Alrighty, there we go. Thank you again, everyone, so much for joining us this afternoon. Very happy to have you here with us, and thank you for your interest in the MSW program at USG. My name is Benicia. I'm the admissions recruiter for the MSW program. I'm also an alum. I just graduated in May of 2021. So if you have any questions about the program and what that's like, I'm more than happy to take some time to chat with you all about that today or individually. Also on the call with us, I will let them both introduce themselves. We have Danielle White and Jessica Ryder with us. Whoever wants to go first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle White, and I am the Associate Dean for Admissions and Enrollment.
Hi, all. My name is Jessica Ryder Amin, and I am the Assistant Director for the MSW program at USG.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And also not on the call today, but a part of our admissions team, we have Miss Natalie Flowers, who's the admissions counselor for applicants with the last name A through K, and Miss Shannon DeGrosse, who is the admissions counselor for applicants with the last name L through C. And together we all make up the admissions team here in the MSW program. Also, not on the call, we have Dr. Judy Postmaster, who's the Dean of the School of Social Work. She started with us in July of 2020. Just wanted to put her here, have a name with the face. And a quick overview of what we'll go over today. We'll talk about the program in general, talk a little bit about field placements, some additional opportunities, admissions requirement, tuition and financing, and then we'll touch on the deadlines for the program as well. So we do have two locations, campus locations, one in Baltimore City, and we generally refer to that as main campus, and then one at the universities at Shady Grove, which is, what you all are probably interested in, attending the USG Information Session today. And that one is located in Rockville, Maryland. It's the same program, just different campuses. The universities at Shady Grove does offer a fewer options than main campus in regards to concentration and specialization, but we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through the slides. So just some information about the School of Social Work. Mostly females are attending, women are attending. Our average age of our student is 28 years old, so more than likely working, having families. And the majority of our students do attend Baltimore, but you can see there that we have a decent amount of students also attending at Shady Grove. And the average GPA of our incoming students is a 3.4. UMB offers a variety of programs. We have diverse field placements in various locations. And I'll actually send some more specific information out after the presentation. So there are locations near Rockville and Montgomery County if you're living this way and you're concerned about having to travel to Baltimore for field. That's not something that you'd have to do. And then we do have a high pass rate on our licensing exam. And I think the university does an excellent job, or the program does an excellent job at preparing students for licensing. And then also you'll be able to sit for licensure in your last semester. So that's a really great offering as well. I'll skip over this. This is usually for our Baltimore main campus, but again, our main campus is located in Baltimore City. The university has an Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and at the university, we strive to be inclusive, diverse, equitable, anti-racist, and anti-oppressive. The university has been very responsive, and the social work program also has been very responsive to many of the social justice issues that have been going on over the past years. They have created new courses related to institutional oppression. And if you do have any additional questions, you can reach out to me and I can get you connected to our Assistant Dean, Nejma Celestine Donner. if you have any questions about that. So we'll go over the curriculum and also the program now. As an overview, the MSW program at UMB is a 60 credit program. If you have a BSW, you'll come in as what's called an advanced standing student. And if you're coming to the program or applying without a BSW, so coming from any other undergraduate program, you'll apply as what's called a foundation student. So in your foundation year, again, that's if you're coming without a BSW, you'll complete 27 credits. And then in addition to that, you'll do 16 hours of field placement, which is essentially like an internship. And that's usually 2 days a week. And then in your advanced year, you'll complete 33 credits plus 3 days a week of field placement. And then if you're coming in an advanced standing, you'll see that you don't have a foundation year. And that's because you're coming in with the BSW and you've essentially already taken that foundation year in your undergraduate program. So you'll come in and you'll take the 36 credits, the last 36 credits of the program, and you'll start in that 3 days a week for field placement because you're coming in your advanced year. In regards to classes and coursework, at the universities at Shady Grove and also on main campus, if you are here and you're interested in Maine, you just wanted to attend an info session. There are classes offered in different formats, so online and online synchronous and asynchronous, so either working at your own pace throughout the week or signing in at a specific time during the week. And then there's also hybrid courses and fully in-person courses. And students at the USG campus, for any class that is fully online, if it's not offered at USG, you can take the online course through the main campus, and it's not something you have to put a request in. If you are interested in taking a hybrid or in-person course, then you would have to put in the request, but there are options to take courses at UMB if there's something that's not offered for you at USG. So just something to think about. The program offers 2 concentrations and 6 specializations. But just at USG, you'll have 1 concentration. I don't know if you can see my mouse on this side here, 1 concentration offering and 2 specializations. So at USG, they have the concentration of clinical and then specializations in behavioral health or children, families and children. So you can see if you come over here at main campus, you'll have all of these additional options. But if you know that you're interested in clinical, behavioral health, or families and children, the universities at Shady Grove will definitely be a great place if you live near campus. There's also subspecializations. And so the one that would be available for USG students would be the social work and workplace employee assistance. And that's because it's offered for a specialization of behavioral health. Both on main campus and at Shady Grove, the program has amazing faculty members. Wonderful, they do a lot of research involved in the community, run a lot of discussion-based courses, which I find personally impactful and for the program in general. And if you are interested in connecting with any faculty member, please reach out to me. They're always happy to speak to interested students. So if you're interested in families and children or behavioral health and you want to learn more about what that might look like, you know, going forward, even in the career, let me know and I can get you connected to a faculty member. As I mentioned, you will have fields placement as a part of the MSW program in your foundation year. So this is, again, applies to those students coming without a BSW. You'll do the 2 days a week and 8 hours a day. And usually for USG students, that will be on Tuesday and Thursday. And for both main campus, USG, and then also foundation and advanced, a field application is required. And then in your advanced year, so in your second year, and then also this is for advanced standing students, you'll do 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 hours a day for that as well. And a field application is required. This field education day, we had it yesterday, but we're scheduling one for February. So it's a specific session related to field education. And it's hosted by Laura Losner, who is the Assistant Director of the Field Education Office. And she's there, she gives an overview of field, the purpose of field, and then also if you have any specific questions about field, she'll be able to answer that. So we're looking towards the end of February, and I usually will send out a link to register for anyone that's attended an information session. So just keep an eye out for a link from me if that's something that you're interested in. Something that I like to touch on, because I know, you know, if you are working or you have kids or you have a busy life like most of us do, the 3 days a week of field placement can be somewhat daunting, but please know that there are options for flexibility. So in your advanced year, if you're not able to do the 3 days a week, you can do what's called an extended field placement. And this is something you work with the field office to do. And so instead of the 3 days a week, you would do 2 days a week, just as you would, you know, in your foundation year. And so essentially field will usually run from right after Labor Day until mid-April. I say May sometimes in case there's weather or, you know, you get sick, something like that. And then if you did an extended, what would happen is you would start in September after Labor Day, like everyone else, but instead of ending in April, you would end in July. So it gives you a little more flexibility, a little more time to get that field placement done, which some students find very helpful, especially if they're working. And then in regards to finishing in July, you wouldn't incur any additional charges in regards to tuition, as long as you don't have any coursework to take as well. So that's really great also. And also, sorry, thinking about one more thing. If you are currently working in a social services department or a related field, it is possible to get an employment-based field placement. But I will say this is a process that goes through the field office, and they have very strict requirements that the agency needs to meet in order to be in line with accreditation for what a field placement should be. And again, if that's something that you're interested in, attending that field Q&A session will be really helpful because it's something that Laura will go over. So again, keep an eye out for an email from me about the upcoming field Q&A session. Something else to think about, there are dual degree programs. If you're interested, they're all listed here. Just some quick notes. You would have to apply to each of the programs individually, separately, and acceptance to one doesn't give you priority for acceptance to another. The way that the coursework works, some of the classes are cross-listed, and that helps to lessen your time in the program. But just mentioning that here, if that's something that you're interested in, I'll send these slides out. You can explore on the link. Or if you can't figure out who to get connected to, reach out to me and I can definitely get you connected to the right person. So with that, I'll take a brief little pause here before we move on to the next section. I know I provided a lot of information. So at this time, if anyone has questions, please feel free to unmute yourself, or you can type it in the chat. And if not, I'll just keep moving. So I'll just give it a moment.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, yes, my name is Keith Jackson. I'm interested in the program. I have a criminal justice, a bachelor's, and the field placement is going to be a big question for me because I actually just started working for the state of Maryland, Department of Juvenile Services.
Okay.
And I was trying to figure out how can I do that and while I'm in school, and I'm thinking, and I want to do the fall, starting the fall of this year. Yes.
Yeah, so like I said, if you're trying to start in the fall, so there are options, there are ways to kind of spread things out. Because you're coming with a criminal justice degree, you can complete the program between 2 and 4 years. So that will allow you to spread your coursework out if you take a little bit longer. So that's something too that can help, so that you're not taking so many classes along with field, because basically the way that it works is that when you start field, you'll take field in addition to coursework related to field. And so you'll pretty much always be full-time when you're in fields, and full-time is considered 9 credit, because you do have to take the concurrent coursework. So again, ways that you can kind of give yourself a little more flexibility is in that second year, doing an extended field placement to give yourself the 2 days a week instead of the 3. If you're at the Department of Juvenile Services, you might want to, and I can send you her information, reach out to Laura in the field office. Perhaps there might be an option for employment-based field placement, which allows you to essentially be working and doing your field placement in the same place. There again are some really strict requirements, like you have to be doing something different than you usually do, and they need to have appropriate supervision there for you. So that's another way that some students continue to work and balance work and school. So those are some options for you.
Yeah, 'cause, I just know, because I really want to make a decision as soon as possible, because I don't want to, and I had to talk to my supervisor, but it seemed like with a lot of schools, you had to do one or the other. And I don't want to put myself in that situation, because I feel like it is possible to do both. I was thinking about doing the part-time, because I am working full-time, 40 hours. So I was just going part-time, and to see if that's an option. And how does that work as far as financial aid and all of that? So
yeah, okay, so we will actually talk a little bit later about part-time versus full-time, like tuition. So we'll talk about that a little later. And then if you're interested in kind of talking about what the program could look like for you, I know you sent me an email as well. We can go ahead and schedule time to chat, so we can talk a little bit more in detail about how we can make the program work for you.
okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you do part-time, it definitely opens up some options. So like if you do the full 4-year program, I think it'll be like 2 classes in the spring, or 2 if you start in fall, 2 classes in the fall, 2 classes in the spring, and then you won't start field into that second year. And you'll have fewer classes. There's options for like summer courses and things that can help spread stuff out for you.
Okay, yeah, because
yeah,
that's good, because some schools didn't offer summer classes, and I was gonna see if I can maybe do like like you said, 2 courses. That sounds reasonable, but yeah, we could talk more.
yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I have your email, so I'll respond after this, and we can set up some time to talk about what part-time could look like for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, of course. Any other questions? Oh, I see some stuff in the chat. What do we have going on here? Oh, okay. I see Jessica dropped in the chat for everyone the plans of study. Highly, highly recommend taking a look at those. I know for me, it helped me make a decision about the length of time that I could be in the program, because I had some of the same concerns. I was working, I had to support myself, and I didn't know what that could look like in completing the program. And I was able to complete in 2.5 years. So definitely take a look at the plans of study that Jessica dropped in the chat. And if you have any questions, again, you can reach out to me, and we can also schedule time to talk individually. I know it's with field, I think it becomes a little challenging, but it's definitely possible. And I'm more than happy to sit with you to help, talk about that and figure it out for anyone on the call. And
All right, thank you.
Of course. All right. If I don't see anybody else, I'm gonna just keep moving along. Maybe. There we go. So we'll talk about application requirements and the overall process next. So in regards to requirements, all you need is a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university. Again, you do not have to have a bachelor of social work. You can come from any background. In fact, I think the program really values individuals coming with different backgrounds, and they integrate that into practice, into the courses. All of the experience that you bring is relevant, and like I said, very valued. So if you're coming from criminal justice or psychology, or I had someone from engineering come to me and you're feeling a little discouraged, definitely don't be. Please still apply. Like I said, your experience is valid. You'll need a minimum of 60 credits in liberal arts. If you are coming from anything other than a fine arts degree, usually you're fine. So don't panic about that. And again, your transcripts will be reviewed. So that's not something that you'll have to worry about. And someone will let you know if there's additional things that you need to do. And the reason why some people ask for the next one, so we're basically a preferred minimum 3.0 GPA on the last 60 credits of your bachelor's degree. Some people ask why the last 60 credits. Usually some students struggle in the first year or so of transitioning to undergraduate from high school, just because some people are moving away from home, they're leaving friends, they're living on their own for the first time. So it allows for that transition period. And so they look at the last 60 credits where most students have adjusted to their new changes and their new environment. So a preferred minimum 3.0 GPA. For those students, the GRE and MAT scores are not required. They're only required for students with a GPA of 2.5 or below. And then for students with a GPA of 2.51 to 2.99, MAT or GRE scores are encouraged, but they are not required. So if you are sitting above the 2.5 mark, you don't have to take the GRE or MAT. So that's something to think about. Some programs do require it. We don't, unless you fall within a certain range. In regards to the application fee, it's going to be $65. We do offer fee waivers for members or alumni of AmeriCorps, Peace Corps, Trio McNair Scholars, Fulbright Scholars, and then anyone that is active military or a veteran. Really important, if you think you qualify for a fee waiver, do not submit the application fee first. What you'll want to do is you'll want to reach out to your admissions counselor, let them know that you think you're eligible, and then they'll walk you through that process of getting the fee waiver. And then once you have the fee waiver, you're able to apply. Once you apply, if you realize it after, it's a little too late. So I always just say, if you think you're eligible, just reach out and someone will definitely let you know if you are or not. I am not sure we have any international applicants, but in case we do, I'll just briefly go over this. So some differences for international applicants. You will need to have your transcripts evaluated if you're coming from a bachelor's degree from any international college or university. And these three organizations here are some of the ones that we accept transcript evaluations from. And then depending on where you're coming from, you might need to take a language exam. And if you need to do that, there's all the information on the international applicant webpage. And there are also a lot of exemptions. So if you're not sure, take a look at the exemptions list. I think it's at the very bottom of the webpage. It's like a drop down, and see if you fall in any of the exempted categories before you start that process. In regards to the application process, the application is a two-step application. So in the first part, you'll submit some general demographic information, You'll let us know which campus you want to attend the program, the concentration or specialization that you're interested in if you're going into your advanced year. And then you'll also submit your personal statements along with that first part of the application. After that, you'll submit your application fee, and then you'll have access to the supplemental materials, and that will be your resume, your transcripts, and then any other documentation that, depending on your circumstances, you might need to submit. If you want to see the information about what your references need to submit beforehand, it's located in the academic catalog, which is on the School of Social Work webpage. So if you can't find it, if you just go in the search bar on the School of Social Work page and you type academic catalog, it will bring it up and you can access that and see all of the detailed requirements, as well as, again, what your references will need to be able to comment on. That's a question that I get sometimes. So in regards to the personal statements, it's 300 words each. For foundation students, it will be 3 essay questions. And then any advanced standing student, which the application for fall 2022 is today, just FYI, you will need an additional essay that's a case plan. For everyone, there's also an optional personal statement. And this is an area where you can let us know anything additional that you want us to know. If you're working, if you have kids, if you have a language, you know, your dual language, or you have your multilingual, you can drop any of that information that you think might be important for us in that optional statement. The personal statements are very, very, very important. We don't do interviews like some programs might do. And so your personal statements are the way that we get to know you, are the ways that we get to understand how you view social work, what you want to bring to the profession, you know, your experiences and working with others and diverse groups of people. All of that is held within the essays of the personal statements. It's how we get to understand how you view yourself and you view yourself within the program. So really take time on those. If you have the opportunity for anyone to take a look at them before you submit, I highly recommend, if you can do more than one person, that's even better. To make sure that you're fully answering the questions. They are only 300 words, so it's important to be informative and concise, which is challenging for people. It's challenging for me. So making sure that you're not leaving anything out and trying to be concise, having someone else look over it is really great. It is 300 words. If you go over, if you do 320, 350, it's not going to kick your essay back. But we ask that you try to stay within the 300 words. It's also a way that we view your writing ability. So your ability to write, be informative and concise. So grammar, all of that also really matters in your personal statements. Take time on those. As I mentioned, you'll need references. So your references should be professional references. So professors, employers, supervisors, colleagues, shouldn't be the family friend, the neighbor, the pastor, anything like that. It should be someone that knows you in a professional setting. You'll also need to submit a resume. It can be up to 2 pages. And on that resume, you'll want to include, in addition to your work experience, any non-English language proficiencies, and any volunteer experience, internships. All of those things really matter. And again, it's a way for us to get to see what you've done outside of academics and outside of your work experience. So take time on your resume as well. If you know someone that's really awesome at writing resumes, have them look over your resume to make sure that it's conveying everything that it can in those 2 pages, if you have that much. And like I said, yep, review your essays and resume, and then submit your application as soon as possible. The sooner you submit, the sooner you will hear back from us. We review applications in the order in which they are received. And usually it's about a 6 to 8 week time period. So, alrighty, oops. So in regards to deadlines, I'll start on Shady Grove since that's what the majority of you are probably here for. So for our fall 2022 start, that's part-time or full-time, the application deadline is March 15th. So that's coming up soon here. If you were interested in advanced standing and you were joining us today, advanced standing, the next time to apply for Shady Grove will be spring of 2023. Right now, we only offer a spring start date, but starting in fall 2023, we will have a fall start date. So, you know, if you're here for advanced standing, spring 2023 is going to be the earliest that you could apply. And applications for that will open in September of 2022. So, you know, if you are interested, you can take that time to look at scholarships, take that time to get your essays, references, all of that together. If for some reason you're joining us and you're interested in Baltimore, not a problem. Foundation deadline is also March 15th for those interested in Baltimore campus. And then we do have a fall start for advanced standing at main campus. And the application is due today for that. So again, if you've started and you were interested in Baltimore, just remember the application deadline's today. And then any scholarships, if you're interested in scholarships, the application deadline is also today. So something to think about. And I will say you can apply for scholarships each semester. So if you miss it and you're still interested in applying for scholarships, you can apply in the next semester. And we'll talk a little bit about scholarships in a second. Sorry, I know we're almost to the questions point where I know it's a lot of information. Someone asked about tuition. So for those who are in-state and full-time, which again is 9 credits or more for a graduate program, for 2021-2022 academic year, it was $15,140 per year. That's in-state. If you're out of state, $32,979 per year. And then if you're part-time, you pay per credit hour, and it's $729 per credit in-state, and then $1,307 per credit for out-of-state students. If you're interested in looking more specifically at the fees, if you go to our tuition webpage, again, that search bar, I love using it. You just type in tuition, it'll take you to the tuition page, and there's in the bottom left corner, you can click on the PDF documents. There's one specifically for USG that will show the fees. And these, again, are going to be for academic year 2021, 2022. I don't think they've posted any of the 2023, 2024 stuff yet. So financing your education, first and foremost, there's student aid through your FAFSA. So everyone should complete one, even if you don't think you'll need aid. The school uses the information on FAFSA to give out any additional money, grants, funding, anything like that. So if you don't have a FAFSA in, then you won't be kind of in that pool. Applications are already open. The priority deadline is March 1st, but you can apply for financial aid at any time. If you totally forget and it is August 1st, you can still go on and complete your FAFSA. Just the sooner you complete it, you know, it's more similar to the applications. They look at them as they come in, and also based on aid, but the sooner you can complete it, the better. But if you forget, you can apply at any time. Scholarships are definitely another option for funding your education. The awards generally range from $2,000 to $10,000. As I mentioned, if you are interested in fall 2022, today's the deadline for those applications. So there is a scholarship application that's on our webpage, and I will actually, after the presentation, I send out some important links, and the scholarship application is one of those. It's a very streamlined process. When you go onto the scholarship application, it'll have the different types of scholarships and then the eligibility, as well as I think there's an essay question that goes along with most of them. So you'll complete that essay question for the scholarships that you're interested in. And again, it's up to 3 different types of scholarships, and they're all listed there. And then you'll get matched. So it's a much easier process than applying individually. There are also scholarships that are non-UMB offered, and those are listed on the scholarships webpage. And then USG has additional scholarships. So again, if you're interested in the USG campus, this is something to take into account. You can click on the link and you can view the USG specific scholarships. So all students who are interested in the UMB MSW program are eligible for scholarships, but USG scholarships are only for USG students. So that's something to think about. Something about the USG scholarships, they are awarded a little later in the semester. So I would suggest potentially not using the money that you are going to get or that you could get from a scholarship in your financial decisions, just because it won't be something that you'll get right away. It's something that you'll have to wait on. So any costs that you're looking to cover that any other scholarships or financial assistance won't cover, you won't have that USG scholarship money for a little bit. So just something to think about. Some other options, keeping track of the time here. I definitely want to leave time for questions for you all. Some other financing options, Title IV-E, which is a public child welfare program. And essentially you get special training, you have a special field placement, and you get a financial stipend to support your educational expenses. Something to consider about Title IV-E is that you will have to work in child welfare upon completion of the program. So if child welfare is not something that you're really drawn to or something that you're interested in, you might want to think about it, but really consider the fact that you'll have to work in child welfare upon graduation for a specific amount of time. For more information, you can contact Chris Wirt. He's our contact for the Title IV-E program. That is specific for Baltimore. BWise fellowships are another way to finance your program. So BWise stands for Behavioral Health, Workforce Integration, Service, and Education. There are different options that are for advanced year and foundation year students, and they're listed here. You can just see two of the ones that are offered to advanced standing and foundation students. You can see that there are significant stipends for these programs. And these are, forgot to mention, related to substance use. So if you're interested in that area, something to consider. And I will be sending out a document that has all of the information for all of the different programs listed. And you can take a look at that and see all of the specific requirements. And then also for these, it is a separate application. So there's a separate application for each program. You can view it on their website, and you'll have to complete that in addition to your program application. These are just the deadlines. Again, I'm going to send out the slides so you'll have all of this information. And there's also a link to the webpage. So some additional opportunities that the program offers. There are certificate programs. Some of these are postgraduate. For USG students, not as helpful. There's a macro one that you can get throughout your schoolwork, which is the Human Services Leadership and Management. I actually have that one. I got it through my coursework. But something to consider if you are interested in any of these areas as you go through your coursework. You can take a look at these, some of the requirements, and perhaps they can guide you down a specific path. Financial Social Work Initiative is another way that students can get involved. While the Financial Social Work Certificate is something that's postgraduate, they offer specialized field placements and also a 3-credit course. If financial social work is something that you're interested in, Jody Frey is the contact for that. And if anyone's interested, her contact information is down below. And with that, that leaves us to the end. So, we have about 30 minutes to answer any questions that anyone might have. And I will stay on for the full time. So I know this was a lot of information. If you're anything like me and you sit and process it for a minute, I'll be on until 2:15. So again, you can drop it in the chat or unmute yourself if you have any questions. Oh, and I do see that Jessica dropped the admissions catalog in the chat there. And again, that will have all of the specific application instructions and what most people are also looking for, that references information, what they'll have to comment on. Oh, okay. And so we have Dr. Smith, who's a faculty member. So if anyone has any questions related to coursework or anything like that, they teach at USG. And I'll actually, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, you can.
Sure. Sorry, there's some background noise in my house right now. So hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Melissa Smith. I'm an associate professor here at the School of Social Work. I've been teaching here since 2012, predominantly at USG, and I teach some foundation courses specifically on structural oppression, as well as advanced clinical practice courses on serious mental illness.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us.
Okay.
So I do see a question here in the chat. It says, since fewer students study at USG, are admissions more selective for the Shady Grove campus? And if so, what are admissions officers primarily looking for? And Jessica, I don't know if you want to comment or I can.
Sure, I can comment. I also have background noise. I'm sorry, my son is trying to fall asleep. They are not, the admissions rate are the same for both campuses. Shady Grove is not more selective. I would just say because we have a smaller program, fewer students apply to the Shady Grove campus to begin with too. So admissions rate are similar across campuses. In terms of what we're looking for, I'll answer and then Venicia can share her perspective too. I think we're looking for, everyone says well-rounded candidates. We're looking for students who have a good understanding of what social work is. That doesn't mean that you need to know exactly what you want to do as a social worker, but just that you have a well-rounded knowledge base of what it is, and maybe an idea of an area you're interested in, that's fine. Someone who can write clearly in their admissions applications, again, as Venicia said, that's how we get to know you. And so if you can come across in those small, brief, I know they're really short essays, that's really helpful. And really, anyone who adds diversity to our school is amazing. And diversity, as we know, is multifaceted. And so that can be in a variety of ways, experiences, just who you are as a person, what you're interested in. So I encourage you to think a little outside the box about what you bring that's unique to the School of Social Work. And doesn't have to be, again, you don't have to know like, this is what I want to do and this is all I'm going to do. I think we like students who are open to a lot of different possibilities. And you may think, I want to come in here, I want to work only with children moving forward. And you may come to the School of Social Work and do something completely different. So, if you're flexible, you're open to new ideas, new populations, I think those are all great things. And I know that it sounds like such a big concept to wrap your head around, to like, how do you convey all of that in an application? But, I think you just do your best too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I have anything to add. I definitely, like Jessica was saying, well-rounded. And, I think as some guidance, like, don't negate the experiences that you've had. Even if you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't have any social work experience, all I have is customer service experience, like, is that going to put me at a disadvantage? Customer service requires a lot of social work skills, especially when working with challenging customers, challenging situations. you know, managing multiple tasks, you know, connecting people to different things, all of that matters, and all of those are social work skills. So in thinking about, and I think that goes back to Jessica's comment on being open and having an open mind and looking a little bit outside of what you might think necessarily social work is, and tying those skills in is a really great way to show us that, you know, even though, hey, you haven't been working in Department of Social Services, and that's something you're interested in, that you still have all of the skills, and you have the ability to interact with people in an appropriate, culturally appropriate way, and a way in recognizing, you know, the person as a whole. And I think, again, like those things are related to areas that aren't necessarily within the field of social work. So as you go through your essays and you're looking at those questions, think about that. And as you're putting things on your resume, think about that as well. If you're describing your tasks, think about, you know, what you're really doing. Like, you know what you're doing, but like, what are you really doing in its relation to social work? So just some additional guidance, and again, kind of what we're looking for, even if you aren't necessarily coming from a social work field. There are things that, more than likely, there are things that you've done that are related. If you work with people or systems in any way, shape, or form, which most of us do, you've probably utilized some social work skills. So, and I think being really clear about, again, not what you want to do, but about kind of what is driving you to this field and what social work kind of means to you is a really great way to let us know a little bit more about you as well, that we're looking for. Sorry, I know that was a long-winded answer. All right, I'm gonna cut back into the chat. I don't see anything additional. And again, you can also unmute yourself. Oh, I see a question. Is it possible to participate in research in the research curriculum at Shady Grove? I'm not sure. Did you want to?
I can take that one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we do have a program called the Research Assistant Scholars Program. I used to coordinate it. It's now coordinated by another professor, Dr. Christabel Chung. But that gives an opportunity for students on the Baltimore and the USG campus to participate in research. So if you're interested now, I can't remember what the process is because I'm no longer in it, but it is a scholarship opportunity for you to work alongside, and it's competitive, to work alongside a faculty member for 10 hours a week conducting research. So usually for the Shady Grove students, because I think I'm the only full-time faculty that's housed at USG. Typically the students that are chosen will work with me. But sometimes, depending on the work that a specific professor needs, you can be paired with somebody that can, you know, take an RA that can do remote work. And so there's usually 1 to 2 students in that program at USG. And then there's always opportunities for you to reach out to other faculty who are conducting research. Now, most of them are based in Baltimore, but if you're interested, there is listing under our research to look at opportunities to be a research assistant, as well as volunteer opportunities if you're just interested. And then I'm always happy to talk with students about research.
Thank you. And Jessica dropped the link for the scholarships. Yeah, so the applications for the RA scholarships is a part of the overall scholarship application. And it has the eligibility requirements. And this is, by the way, you can view the scholarship application even if you haven't started a program application. So if you go, you click on the link, it's like huge, it says apply. If you click on that, you can start looking through them, seeing all of the requirements. If you want to start your essays, you can do that. But the research assistant scholarships are included in the scholarship application.
Cheryl, I see your question about summer classes at USG. We don't offer specific summer classes at the USG campus. We just haven't had the enrollment necessary to offer a full course. We've tried in the past, but we do offer summer courses at the Baltimore campus, and some of those are week-long intensives, and some of those are the full 8-week summer session. And so you are able to take those courses. Typically, the courses offered are ones that you would take after you finish the foundation curriculum. So that's a whole entire year if you're full-time, or after year 2 if you're part-time.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed that question. Back in the chat. So can you use Pell Grant from FAFSA for a master's degree? I personally do not know the answer to that. I do know that there are specific like graduate student loans and things like that. I don't know if anyone has any information. If not, I can try to get you connected to someone that might have information about that. Yeah, thank you. Jessica dropped the email for financial aid office. They can definitely help you with information about that. And then, next question. For people who want to get licensure as LCSWs, is there any support after graduation for finding places to do so, to do your supervised hours?
So I would just say, a great question. First of all, thank you for thinking about this. In terms of support, it depends what you're looking for. We have a new office that is focused on career development. And part of that is that they send a weekly email now with agencies who are looking for applicants to fill positions. Do we match you with an employer to find a job? No, not at this point, but we do have a lot of options. And I think the other thing to think about is when you're in the program, you will have 2 field placements, and those are essentially a whole academic year of networking for you. And so you want to use those not just as a learning opportunity, but getting to know other social workers. And a lot of our students do end up finding a job either through their field placement or through someone they met at a field placement, or, you know, a lot of them have been using the career email that has been coming out. But we do offer support in terms of career readiness, thinking about your resume, thinking about how to use LinkedIn and other job searching. So we do offer those things. We typically offer those as extra events or academic events, typically in the spring semester. But I think building your network is really important. So.
Yeah, and then again, in regards to prep for licensure, the university offers a lot of opportunities and free, also some of them are free for students who are currently in the program to prepare for licensing as well. So hopefully that answered your question. You're welcome. And I don't see any other questions in the chat at the moment. I know most of us are probably busy. Again, I'm going to stay on until 2:15. But if for some reason you need to drop off, that's totally fine. Don't feel concerned about staying on until 2:15. But I'll be here. So if anybody does have questions, you know, you're sitting in the information and you want to unmute yourself and ask or type it in the chat, I will be here.
Thanks, Benicia.
You're welcome.
Well, I'll drop my email in the chat in case anyone has any questions for me too.
And it
I just did
also,
the same thing.
yep, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining.
Sure.
Muted myself. I'm just going to turn off my camera, but I'm still here, just so you know. Oh, you're fine. It's okay if you have questions. Start as a full-time, I'm going to read it out loud only because we're recording. So is it possible to start as a full-time student and then switch to part-time? And I lost it. If circumstances change. So yes, you know, life happens, things happen. You know, if you are having any changes, you really need to work, turn my camera back on so you can see me. You need to work closely with that advising to figure out what the program then will look like. Again, with foundation year students, you have between 2 and 4 years to complete. So if life happens and you need to, you know, spread some things out, that's possible. I will say for anyone that's interested in advanced standing, you do have to complete the program within 2 years. So there is a part-time option. Usually advanced standing is completed, but like in basically 2 semesters in a summer, so 1 year. But you can complete up to 2 years. But if you are going in advanced standing and you do have any concerns that it may take you beyond 2 years, just remember that you do have to complete the program within 2 years. So in short, yes, if things change, just know that you'll need to work really closely with advising to make sure that you can complete the program appropriately and accordingly. Because again, field and coursework, some of the coursework aligns, and the courses are kind of building upon one another so that you can eventually be in your methods courses and your specialization courses. So just keep that in mind, but life happens, and I think the university and the program understands that. So
Hello.
hello.
Hey, yeah, this is Rick Keys again. I just had one more question,
Of
but
course.
I just want to be able to, because I have been putting this on hold. I've been wanting to do this social work program for like, I'll say about 2 years now, and I've just been putting on hold because of funding and trying to get my life together. And I just want to make sure if it is an option, whereas those flexibility comes with this job and doing this program, because you say it can do 2 to 4 years.
Yeah, so yeah, 2 to 4 years. And since it seems like there's only 2 of you all right now, I can do something really quickly. I can show you the plans of study really quick and show you kind of the difference between what a full-time program would look like and what a part-time program would look like in terms of classes. So let me just exit out of the billions of tabs that I have open, and then I'm going to pull up the plans of study. And we can just take a look since we have a little bit of time. So let me do that. Let me share my screen, and then we'll get these up there. Whoop, have too many things open. So share screen, and we're going to share. All righty. Let me. So this will be, so you're Shady Grove. So Shady Grove, for example, a 2-year plan, this will be full-time. This is kind of what it will look like. So you can see already here, you'll come in, if you come in the fall, as a foundation student, you'll immediately be in field. And then you'll have all of these additional courses. And that pretty much is the setup for the entire 2 years. And you can see that that offers for you more than likely. Actually, I will, well, that's fine. We can cut it. And you can see that offers very little flexibility for you. So there are some options. For example, the next kind of step to lengthening the program for you would be a 2.5-year program, and that's what I did. And you can see some differences. So you would start in the spring instead of the fall, and then you would start part-time, like true part-time. You would be doing 2 classes, and that would be in the spring. And then for the consecutive years, you would, again, you can see it's a little heavy here. You'd be in foundation field, so you'd be in your fields placement. And at this point, it's your year 1, so you'd be in there 2 days a week, 8 hours a day. And then you'd see you have all of these concurrent courses. And then this kind of setup would follow you throughout the rest of the program. So where you start to get a little bit of flexibility is in the 3-year plans and the 4-year plan. So I'll have to scroll up to Baltimore for the 4-year plan. I don't know why it's not listed for the Shady Grove. But for the 3-year plan, you can see this is a lot less on your plate. So if you started, say you started fall 2022, right? So you would start with only 2 courses in the fall, 2 courses in the spring. So more than likely, at this point, you can still be working full-time, no adjustments to your schedule, more than likely, because we do offer classes in the morning, afternoon, evening, and there are a few Saturday classes sometimes. I was able, for example, to get all evening classes my entire time. So I was able to, other than field, not have coursework also interfere with work.
Okay, so when we determine the classes, that all depends on registration.
Yes, so yeah, the classes in terms of what's being offered and when is going to be based upon what's happening with registration. So if you want to get a little bit of an idea about when classes are offered, you can, and I think, yeah, I usually include it in the information that I send out after the session. It is the course schedule. And right now you would be seeing the course schedule for spring 2022. And so what that can do is show you a little bit about when are some of the foundation courses offered, what times, how many of each class is offered, format wise. So looking at the course schedule, and you can look, if you decide to hold off and apply next year, you can then look at the fall 2022 course schedule too, to give you a little bit of an idea about when classes are going to be offered. But I will say there are evening classes, and I think that helps a lot of students out. I know, like I said, it helped me out tremendously because then I was not having to balance field and school, like in a full day, interfering with my work. And so I will say too, depending on your field placement, where you are, what you're doing, sometimes there's a level of flexibility. So while, we say, field will be Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes field placements have stuff going on the weekend, or they have stuff going on in the evening. And so, or they don't care if you split an 8-hour day across 2 days. So then you can split a day of work and a day of field. So that also is something that plays a little bit into it. So like, for example, in my foundation year, they were a community-based organization. So a lot of stuff that they did was on the weekend. So I was able to get some stuff in on the weekend as well. And so that's something to think about, that there might be a level of flexibility within your field placement. Now, I do say that with caution, because I always say go in just expecting to have to do the base, what we say on paper you're going to have to do. But generally, I would like to believe that there's a level of flexibility within the field placement in regards to your schedule. Now, I will say with USG, it does get a little bit tricky because it's a smaller offer, like campus, a smaller student body, their course offerings are a little more, I don't know, compact. But again, there's the online course options, there's summer course options through Baltimore that can help. So I
Well, I
think
live in Baltimore, so
Mhm.
I'll be interested in Baltimore. campus.
okay, yeah, so Baltimore is going to give you more of a decent amount of flexibility in terms of class offering, class times, and definitely field placement. So like with USG, the way that their courses are set up around fields, so it makes it difficult to move your field around. At Baltimore, there's just courses and there's fields, so it makes it a little easier for you to be able to work on Monday instead of do field on Monday. And again, these are all things that you will want to work out with your fields placement. And if you're really concerned about field and you're having some questions, either if you're able to attend the field session, but it's going to be probably about 2 weeks off, but I can also send you or drop in the chat right now, whichever's easiest, Laura Losner's information, the assistant director for the field office. She's the one that's going to be working with your field coordinator, liaisons, all of that, to place you. And then she'll also have more information about like true flexibility and what it could look like for you. So I would recommend reaching out to her if you are concerned about field, because I know it's a concern for a lot of students because most of us are working. So, and again, too, if you can talk to your job ahead of time, which maybe why talking to Laura might be helpful, if you can get a better idea so that you can go to them and say, hey, this is what this might look like. Is there any way that, how can we work, together around this? And if an employment-based field placement is an option for you, I think that would also be really helpful because again, you're working, so you're still getting paid. And your employer's not necessarily like losing you on those days. They might just have you in a different area. But it's very strict. They have to meet really strict requirements. And if they don't, then you can't do your field placement there. So I don't know how much information Laura can give you, not being like, admitted and all of that. But it might be good for you to talk to her, see if you can just chat with her a little bit. If you can't attend the session, she's really great, really helpful, has a lot of information. So sorry, I know that was long-winded, but I just I know it's a concern for a lot of students, the field placement. It was a concern for me, so I just like to really try to give all the options that you might have.
And with the course schedule that's on the screen, you don't have to take it like that. Like for instance, let's say for the fall, like that, the first class structural question, let's say they don't have online available or evening, I could take something else.
So the foundation courses are a little bit tricky because they build upon each other, and you'll need to take your foundation course before you can take a methods course. And so generally, like, for example, I took social welfare and social policy what was one of the last things. So some of them can probably be moved around if they're not offered and you're looking for something else, but some of them need to be taken at the time that they need to be taken. So like for example, this social work 630 and 631, that can't be moved because this coordinates with your semester one field placement. These you got to take them because this is going to coordinate with your fields placement, what you're doing there. So but like I said, they're generally different sections, so they're offered at different times, different formats. So that's something to think about, because if you can find some online stuff or even hybrids here and there, that might also give you a little more flexibility. But the way the courses are set up, they kind of build upon one another. And like I said, for especially that foundation year, those foundation courses are necessary for some of your practice courses, which are necessary for some of your methods courses. So yeah, and I see you popped your camera on. Your background's cute. I don't know where you are.
I'm in the house. My bad. I'm working and doing this, so I'm trying to get this together.
Yeah.
And right now we
Let me
on
stop recording.
a break. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get everything together because I've been, like I said, I've been trying to get in this program for about 2 years now. I've just been I've been procrastinating because I've been worrying about working. And now finally in the state job, I want to take advantage
Yeah, of course.
The tuition. I can get tuition reimbursed.
Yeah.
And also I'm in the field of case management, and I want to get my social work so I can become a social worker.
Yeah, of course.
We had the experience and be able to do that. And before this, I worked at the choice program. If you know, I don't know if y'all know anything about the choice program, UBC. It's an AmeriCorps program, as well as Thread. I used to did that for a year, both years, working with kids, juveniles. So it'd be very appreciated if I can, I want to invest into this, and I want to be able to get some support as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think it would be helpful to talk to Laura to see what options would be available. Being where you are, you can also apply and defer, so you can defer for up to a year. So if you want to at least just get that process started, and maybe, being in your job, trying to figure out how things could be a little more flexible. That's also an option to give you, so you take that step, and then you can take that year or however long the semester or whatever you choose to do to figure out how everything could really fit together.
And right now I'm virtual. I'm doing everything virtually. I don't know how long it's gonna be teleworking because of this virus. So I'm trying to take advantage of that too, because I know probably some of the fields is virtual as well.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the academic year, everything was in person. And then after the new year, I guess to essentially give like a buffer because we know everybody got together. To give a buffer right now, everything is virtual. Classes started virtual, and then people will be going back, hopefully in person, on the 7th of February. Who knows what COVID has up its sleeve for us in the next semester, and the upcoming academic year. So, some of those things might change. If you are working virtually, that will definitely be really helpful for you. And flexibility, because then, you can roll straight from work into a class. You know what I mean? So like you said, taking advantage of that. But if, the program's something you're really interested in, you can defer if you apply and you're like, oh, well, maybe not sure. So that's something that you can also do. And then are you able to grab, I know sometimes people are on their phones, so it's all hard to grab like stuff out of the chat. Are you able to grab an email address if I drop it in there for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me give you Laura's email. All right, here. And she is the Assistant Director of Field Education. So, yeah, I think she would be more than happy to chat with you and just kind of help you think about field differently and help you think about how fields could work for you. If that's, one of the things that's keeping you.
Yeah, that's the only thing. The classes, no, because I see it some online evenings. That's just flexible. the biggest thing is the field.
Yeah. So I would, you know, oh, did it go to you? It didn't go to you. Sorry. Hold on. It defaulted to sending a private message. There she is. There's the email for her. So yeah, I think maybe chatting with her, and then if you want to, we can chat again. You know, and we can do like an individual chat session and chat again after you chatted with her if you need to think through some things. I definitely
Okay.
don't mind doing that. So
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
you're welcome. Of course, have a great day. If you have any questions in the meantime, you can always reach out to me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Of course, have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.